So there was this video I wanted to see specifically. Apparently it says that this idiot is ruining everything and how Nintendo could sue me for emulating now. What do you mean? Is this person the one that's snitching or so to Nintendo? I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious if this person is actually snitching to Nintendo. I'm kind of curious on that actually.
Hello, guys and gals. Me, Mutahar, and today is a.
To be honest, I'm not surprised. We talk about Ubisoft every fucking week. To be honest, dude, no matter what, we talk about Ubisoft like almost every single week.
Cold day in hell, a blizzard has sort of sparked because I'm actually going to be agreeing and taking Nintendo's side today. Now, normally, you guys might be like, whoa, the guy that always has an issue with the big gaming companies when it comes to emulation and stuff like that. No, today I'm going to be talking about a pretty bad actor and some misinformation that I saw floating around that got me pretty sparked up to cover it in a video. Now, it was a few days ago, I saw this one post where people were saying, oh my god, there's a new Nintendo lawsuit, not related to Pal.
In a new Nintendo lawsuit, they now claim that they can sue people just for playing Switch games in an emulator. It doesn't matter where you got them. That's crazy. That's actually crazy, dude.
They now claim that they can sue people just for playing Switch games in an emulator. It doesn't matter where you got them. So they showed this one pager out of this lawsuit. Count 3, circumvention of technological measures in violation of 17 USC. So again, we'll read through this. It's kind of dry and technical, but I'm gonna try to use.
Kobe giving Ubi their flowers every week. No, we go to their grave or so, and we press F to pay respects or so every single time on their casket. We just come back every like 2 hours or so, you know.
This to make some sense. Plaintiff repeats and realleges every allegation contained in paragraph 1 and 94 is fully set wherein. So section 1201, all right, of the Copyright Act, in a general sense, prohibits circumvention of a technological measure that effectively.
I'm gonna be honest with you, this is the reason why this is just fucking crazy, in my personal opinion.
Effectively controls access to a work protected by the Copyright Act. Now, a lot.
Watch out, Nintendo Ninjas is coming after your Steam Deck.
Of those emulators for Nintendo Switch games that have been going down, like Yuzu and very lately Ryujinx, a lot of those emulators utilize keys that come from actual Nintendo Switches. Now, the only way to get those keys is to violate technological protection measures. So Nintendo's not so much going after emulation, but they're kind of going after people going for the BIOS files, those firmware files that we need to actually emulate stuff. Now, some could argue that maybe Nintendo has a case, but for them to set this precedent, it actually impacts a lot of emulators, okay? It's not just Nintendo. You want to play Bloodborne on the PlayStation 4 emulator, from my understanding and from my experience, you need to grab, files off of a hacked PlayStation 4. So technically, you're circumventing measures. For, any real emulator like the PlayStation 2, you're gonna have to get a BIOS, and maybe you can get that from an official PlayStation 2, but you guessed it, you're circumventing technological measures. So it's a weird thing where we're not really hitting the emulators, but we're hitting the necessary components that users should grab from actual hardware instead. And that can basically be as crippling as actually going after the emulator in of itself. So what they said was Nintendo's technological measures effectively control access.
That's actually crazy.
Yada yada. The defendant at a minimum loaded
Why do you think I don't give Nintendo any of my money, to be honest?
Unauthorized copies of the games into Ryujinx, Yuzu, or any emulator and stream them. Each of those steps requires circumvention of one or more technological measures. The defendant circumvented Nintendo's game encryption for each game he played on an emulator. So each act constitutes a violation for which plaintiff is entitled to damages under 17 USC and injunctive relief. Defendant and his agents' acts are willful, intentional, purposeful, and disregarding of the plaintiff. So what they're going after is, again, line number 98, okay? This specific, exact mention, where in order to run the games under the emulator, you basically are admitting to violating.
I sold my Switch 2 years ago.
Protection measures.
If I get my own Switch or so, I'm getting it from a third market price. I'm not getting it from Nintendo themselves, to be honest. I just borrow my sister's Switch, so at the end of the day, so it's not really a big deal for me.
Now, the thing about it is this lawsuit is actually part of a much larger lawsuit, a fucking 47 pager that actually has
Jesus
me siding
Christ.
with Nintendo against what I believe is one of the worst bad actors when it comes to game preservation. Well, not really game preservation, but game emulation.
Yeah, of course. My Switch is collecting dust. Oh, is it? I think the only Switch that I would be like willing to buy personally, if Nintendo has a copy of it or so, would probably be the Animal Crossing Switch. But I heard that it's just better to get the what is it, the newer version. But then I heard that there's also going to be like a new version coming out next year. So like I said, I'm going to buy it from third market. I'm not buying it from them, so I'm not paying for the online either. Think I'm going to pay for the online for that shit? The only time I'll pay for the online for that shit is to play Mario Party or so for like one day or so, and then that's about it. So,
which I am very passionate about. I am a very big defendant of, okay? I emulate my games. And look, compared to whatever retro gaming channel you watched online that's a purist with actual hardware, you are not going to be rejected by God's kingdom if you decide to fucking emulate a game, okay? Jesus ain't gonna tell you you're a bad guy, okay? No one's really gonna bother about it. But the understand, there's a fine line between emulation and...
I tried Tears of the Kingdom for like one stream or so, and I got bored and I stopped playing it, so.
And then emulating for the sake of piracy.
Still have it, I think. Probably not actually. It might be with my sister now.
Now, the Nintendo Switch is probably one of the most pirated gaming systems out of all the other competitors it has. The PlayStation 5, from my understanding, doesn't really have piracy. The Xbox systems do not have piracy, as those systems aren't even cracked at all at the moment. But Nintendo Switch has effectively had an emulation scene that has lasted for about...
It's funny when you know that the Nintendo Museum is ruining emulated games. I know, it's so dumb. Granted, of course, there are bad people, right? But just Nintendo's just an awful company at the end of the day. And before, the new version wasn't Switch 2, but Switch Pro costs like $700 and it doesn't come with the dock or so. What? The new Switch? It ain't gonna come with a dock or so? Is it gonna be sold separately?
Several years at this point, and effectively most, if not the entire Nintendo Switch library, runs pretty well under an emulator.
They haven't cracked PS4 or Xbox One, right? They haven't cracked those yet, right? For emulation, right? If I remember correctly, right? They haven't done that yet, right? If you can't legally buy a game, you can sail the high seas.
So the thing about it is obviously for me, I emulate a lot of my Switch games. But instead of pirating, I also purchase a copy of those games.
I bought Astral Chain. I have one of Monster Hunter games or so that I have, the Generations ones or so. I have it. I haven't continued playing it or so, but I have it over there. And my sister has Pokemon Scarlet. She gave it to me or so for stream with the Switch or so. And then I have like two more or one more or something. What was the other Switch game that I have? I don't even remember, to be honest.
So for instance, Legend of Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom. I really enjoy this.
Oh, yeah, yeah, Tears of the Kingdom. How did I forget about that? It's probably because it was so boring, I kind of forgot about it. Tears of the Kingdom, Astral Chain, Monster Hunter, the Monster Hunter Generations one that came out. I think there's one more, I think? Or no, it's either 3 or 4. Well, it's 2 or something. Then my sister let me borrow Scarlet because she has both Scarlet and Violet. So I said I wanted Scarlet. So
this game, I bought it at the store, backed it up using a hacked Nintendo Switch, and then ran it in an emulator on my PC, upping the resolution and running it on my Steam Deck and cross-saving the files between them, meaning that I can play a bit of this game on the go, and then it instantly syncs back to my PC so I can play it here and there with all those enhanced benefits that Nintendo does not provide. Then, of course, obviously, Metroid Dread, great game, amazing under an emulator, actually works great on a Steam Deck. Games like Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door, great RPG, absolutely, didn't even play it until like it actually came out on Switch properly. Runs really great in an emulator. Now, the thing is, I bought these games, all right? So I decided to back up my copy and actually run them in an emulator.
If you buy it, it's yours. You own it, so.
In my mind, in my opinion, I don't believe this is, malicious piracy in any regard.
No.
But what this person was doing that Nintendo's going up against was actually downloading pirated copies and streaming them weeks in fucking advance. Now,
Jesus Christ.
obviously with emulators, I kind of want to touch upon, again, the Bleem case again. Now, Bleem was a pretty popular emulator that allowed you to run PlayStation 1 games on your PC.
Really?
So to give you an idea, these people went through so many lawsuits where ultimately, even if Sony didn't win, because they were such a small company, Sony effectively bankrupted these people because of the massive legal fees put towards them. But if you look at their website, these guys were basically selling a piece of software that could run PlayStation games on their system. And they pretty much said works with 300 games, get PC quality graphics so you can play at higher resolutions, works with PlayStation and Dex Drive saves, free compatibility updates, yada yada. Obviously, if you're Sony and you look at something like this, you think, wow, fuck me. These guys are going to let these people play our games on hardware that isn't sold by us? Get out of here. But not only that, they were also selling this for like the Dreamcast, which this product allowed you to play PlayStation 1 games on the Dreamcast. Now I want to remind you, this is kind of like if somebody released a piece of software on the Xbox Series X and said, with this one game, you can run, pirated versions or ISO files of your PS5 games. Like just assume for a minute, you could run PlayStation 5 games on an Xbox, and they were just selling that. If you think Sony wouldn't jump in for a heavy-ass lawsuit against them on that, you would absolutely be out of your mind. So yeah, this is clearly something that would piss off a lot of larger companies.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think
that's
Nintendo really cares if you play Link to the Past on Super Nintendo on an emulator. But I do think they care if you're showcasing gameplay footage for games they haven't released yet. Now, if you go back to this lawsuit over here, we're going to look through some highlights. What they said was defendant Jesse is an individual who streams pirated games on several online platforms. Platforms like Discord, YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, Trovo, Kick.
What the fuck is Trovo? What's Trovo? Vaughn? D Live? Picardo? Nemo? Facebook and Loco? What?
Vaughn, D-Live, Picarto, Nemo, dog, every single platform.
Jesus
and
Christ.
The username they used was Every Game Guru, or Every Game Guru 3. Now, one of the actual accounts I pulled up, Every Game Guru 3, recently streamed Mario & Luigi Brothership, so I don't even know if that's really out. I think it is. Early release, first look, episode 3. So, with a peak viewer...
it's because he fucking showed these games before they even came out or so. That's pretty fucking bad in my personal opinion.
Viewership of 14. You might be like, was it really worth getting fucking ass rammed by Nintendo's legal? Probably not, okay? But the ninjas do not care what your viewership is. The ninjas do care if you're showcasing their games before they're even released, especially if they're also running off a fucking emulator. So what they said was, defendant is a recidivist pirate who has obtained and streamed Nintendo's leaked games on multiple occasions. So the way that games get leaked for Nintendo is usually somewhere in the distribution chain, a physical copy is grabbed, and somebody takes a physical copy of, let's say, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. It's not released yet. Somebody who works in distribution grabbed it off of the shelf, illegally by the way. They then used a hack switch to take the game cartridge, put it in an actual switch, you dump the actual game cart, and then post it online on 4chan or like any of these, torrent pirate websites. And then somebody downloads them and runs them in an emulator. It's been happening for years. It's been happening even long before, Link to, I think it was Tears of the Kingdom came out. I mean, people were streaming Pokemon games like a week or two ahead of time. It was insane. So what they had basically...
Damn. Wow. I know it happened for Tears of the Kingdom. I know that for a fact. I didn't know about the Pokemon one.
Also came out into saying is, as early as 2022, defendant streamed unauthorized gameplay of at least 10 of Nintendo's leaked games. And more than 50 times in total. Nintendo submitted dozens of takedown notices pursuant to Section 512 of the Copyright Act to have those streams released, okay? I mean, they went down and shut down multiple channels as much as they could. So Nintendo at this point had to actually slap this person's cock completely out because they just kept streaming their fucking games. So here they also talk about, again, the concept of those technological measures. So again, they talk about the encryption that scrambles the audiovisual content in the game file to make it unreadable without the use of proprietary cryptographic keys, commonly referred to in the emulator scene as prod.keys. So again, if you're getting these cryptographic keys, Nintendo considers that to be very unlawful. So here's the other level of stupidity that just keeps escalating. So according to Nintendo, defendant recently boasted online that he wants to help anyone and everyone who wants to get Nintendo games for free and early, or who needs help installing and setting up Nintendo Switch emulators that let you play Nintendo Switch games for free.
Oh. That's definitely not a good statement to be saying or so online, you know, when the Nintendo ninjas are right around the corner kind of supervising that. That's definitely not a smart position to do though.
Now, I've seen some people kind of equate this. What about channels like Mr. Sujano or, Linus Tech Tips, or, channels that have shown, I've shown how to set up emulators from time to time. There's a big difference between showing people how to set up an emulator, and then there's a big difference between telling people, hey guys, let me show you how to get games for free. Games that aren't even released yet, okay? Big difference. This guy is the bad actor. I feel like it's a government plant to cause emulation to look worse than it really is. Because at the end of the day, if you're emulating for piracy, then you're a bad apple. Now, I personally emulate older games or games that I just want to see upscale. Like a lot of PS2 stuff, I want to run at 60 frames or something at like 1080p or 4K. I think that's fine. Those games aren't even being sold. Like I said, I don't think Nintendo gives a shit if you play things like Twilight Princess. They're not selling it as long as you're not distributing the game illegally. I don't think they care if you run it in Dolphin for the extra frames. And there's a lot of people that use emulators to do things like crazy.
Oh, it is Nintendo, so it wouldn't surprise me. 4K PS2 games? I know, 60 FPS? Damn, dude, that's crazy in my personal. 4K, you can see the pixels. You can literally see the polygons on fucking Lara Croft's boobs.
Randomizer runs on the internet, okay? Like, this stuff only exists because of emulator technology. And again, Nintendo doesn't really care about this. They're not distributing video games or sharing them,
I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo starts coming after them, to be honest. I really wouldn't be surprised. I would not be like, oh my god, how could they, you know? As long as you're not like this nugget and shouting it from every forum, you'll be fine. Yeah, that's pretty much it, you know. Like they're gonna be like, yeah, at the end of the day, right? I don't condone piracy, right? Like just buy your games, bro. If you don't have enough money for your game or so, you know, that's fine. Just save up and just buy it later, you know. That's how I always done it. So that's how, because I've always bought my own toys. So I save up my money or so from like, my mom would give me like lunch money or so, and I would use that lunch money to save up, you know, and buy the game that I want to buy, you know. That's pretty much it. So
in any way that would cause Nintendo financial harm. So okay, anyways, to go down over here, what they get into is actually screenshots of their illegal activities. Now, the reason why it takes any legal company
thank you for the follower, so welcome.
Some time to actually do this is that they're actually building stuff up. So this guy's streams ended up showcasing, hey guys, here's the early release.
Damn, dude, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy that they pirated the Mario and Luigi brothership or so game. I love it how it says literally in the thumbnail 4K RTX on or so. They literally have the RTX logo literally in the corner of the thumbnail. Again, if you pirate a game that hasn't been in circulation and you cannot legally purchase it, totally fine. But don't be a brain nugget, Lamau. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You know? Like honestly, like at the end of the day, right? If you're gonna pirate this shit, don't be stupid. At the end of the day, this person is completely dumb, in my personal opinion. So, you know, you do your own shit. At the end of the day, that's your decision. At the end of the day, you do what you want to do, or so. You know, for me, I'm just gonna go buy my games, to be honest, and that's pretty much 4K RTX 300 FPS Mario game. Yeah, 100%. Probably they probably should have put that somewhere in the thumbnail or so. 300 FPS. That would have been amazing, to be honest. That would have been great. But you know, it is what it is at the end of the day.
Right here, every game guru showcasing Mario and Luigi.
It's so dumb.
Now again, for 14 viewers, was it worth it? I'm not sure.
Not
But
really
again,
worth
when
it
you
for
look down
14
to
viewers.
his YouTube channel, it's kind of hard to tell, but he's sitting at like 60 subscribers. And some of these channels, they keep going up and down. So again, it's serial recidivism in this nonsense. So yeah, Nintendo was screenshotting everything. And at one point, he even came out and was like, I have 1,000 burner channels, allegedly, okay? We can do
a frog off ecstasy.
Really? The platform simultaneously defendant also emailed Nintendo stating that channels and that he can do this all day. We can do this all day. I have thousands of burner channels. Jeez, this is the kind of stupid person, you know. This is the kind of stupid people you don't want to have the power to have emulation, you know.
Do this all day. So not only is this guy just streaming the games, but he's trying to pick fights with fucking Japan's most insane entertainment legal team out there. So even on Kick, they're looking at like him streaming Super Mario Party Jamboree to like a total of one person. All right, it doesn't even matter how it could be 1 or 1 million viewers. Nintendo legal is gonna fuck you in the ass the same way. So every game guru right here, all right, with his like face just plastered over, like this guy.
He decided to show his face. Yeah, they're definitely not going to track you down or so if you show your face or so.
Not only stuck his face in the corner, okay, whatever popularity he was going to get, this guy is the absolute definition of complete brain damage when operating in this pirate video game space. So here's the even wilder part. Obviously, you might be like, Muda, how did they even figure out this guy was like fucking streaming like Nintendo games? How did they know this guy was actually emulating them? Well, at some point, Nintendo decided to go down and actually look at various little things. For instance, he had this Mango Hunt prompt, or not Mango Hunt, I think
Grab
this is
his dick and twist it!
Where they were able to see,
this
like,
is an MMA fight, dude! Too much. Twist that dick! Twist his dick! Twist his dick! Oh my god. Oh, dick twist!
He had multiple burner accounts. He's safe. I guess so. Really? He decided to show that in the corner of the screen or so? So you know those people that want to use cheats and hacks and COD? This is one of those people cut in 4K, pretty much. Bro, he literally had the fucking like the FPS and like everything or so in the corner of the freaking screen or so. Oh my god.
Skin, CPU, GPU, like they were able to pull out like obviously PC reporting statistics for these games being emulated. They were also able to look at portions of this guy's like actual like stream and find out at the very bottom there was like Ryujinx or Ryuzu's Ryujinx or Yuzu's you know, status bar for emulation. So again, this guy wasn't even smart enough to hide this in any capacity. Not only that, Nintendo even went into the Discords and found that, yeah, this guy was just showing people sites to go and download 3DS games.
Oh my goodness gracious me.
Entirely for free. Like, dude, you can't be this stupid when operating in this space, okay? You know, people like to dog on Nintendo, and trust me, I like to kick Nintendo in the balls if I can.
Yeah.
But let's just be honest where things are. Nintendo is 100% on the right here, and guys like this actually make the entire community look like scumbags in the.
All he had to do was just not be stupid. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you. These kinds of people should not have access or so to emulations, in my personal opinion.
Process was every game guru. First, you grab an emulator. Last version of the paid. Like, this guy's already distributing paid versions of the emulator. Like, shit. Grab the latest firmware update. So he's distributing the fucking cryptographic keys right there. Literally links to download the game. Love y'all. Capitalism is cancer. My channel is being deleted for sharing gameplay videos. This is your reward.
I see. So this is the kind of person that pirates games or so. Damn. Damn.
I mean, you know, at some point, I think a lawyer can argue mental insanity is at play because you can't be this stupid. You can't actually be this fucking stupid operating like this.
Apparently
yeah,
there
Nintendo
are.
finally had a reason to go after this guy, and eventually enough is enough, okay? One DMCA strike is whatever. Two DMCA strikes is, all right, you're kind of pushing it. When Nintendo is going after you with this level of litigation, you are a complete dipshit. So what does Nintendo want out of this? Well, let's read Nintendo's prayer of relief, okay?
Let's see.
Amen, buckos. So first off, they want to include a permanent injunction prohibiting the defendant and his attorneys and all third parties in active concert or participation with any of them from A, publicly performing Nintendo's copyrighted games via streaming or encouraging or facilitating any other individual to violate Nintendo's exclusive rights to publicly perform its work. B, otherwise infringing or causing, enabling, facilitating, encouraging, promoting, or inducing, or participating in the infringement of any of Nintendo's works protected by the Copyright Act. And C, offering to the public, providing, or otherwise trafficking in Yuzu, Ryujing, Suyu, Sudachi, or other emulators, the cryptographic keys, or any circumvention devices. Now, the thing about it is, obviously, it's kind of okay to be, like, understanding that Nintendo is going after this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you understand why they've done it, but...
Nintendo wants him buried. Oh man, they're gonna put him at the bottom of the sea, chat. They're gonna put him down in the bottom of the sea.
The precedent this could set is pretty dangerous. Because here's the thing. Imagine if this guy gets taken down and now streaming Nintendo games through emulation is suddenly not okay. Look, even if you're so anti-emulation, right?
Yeah.
And you're so deep in Nintendo's fucking cock.
Yeah.
You have to understand that there's plenty of content creators that do this in a very positive, very safe, and very, like, you know, respectful manner. There's a lot of those people that do randomizer runs, speed runners, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because at the end of the day, if I'm gonna buy if I'm gonna buy the Jamboree, right? Like, let's say for example, I want the Nintendo Jamboree game, right? I can just go to fucking, let's just say Macari, right? Let's say Macari, right? For example, right? I don't know if it's available on Macari. I don't want to do eBay or anything like that, just because it shows my brother's name or so. Jamboree. So if I want Jamboree, right? I just buy me a copy of Jamboree, you know? I just buy me a copy of Jamboree and then just kind of like, you know, just take the game and just put it on my computer and then that's it. I bought it, but it's not from Nintendo because I don't want Nintendo to have my money because personally Nintendo is not really a great company in my personal opinion, but that's just my personal opinion anyways, and I'm just going to buy the game off someone else and they can have the money, you know? But capitalism. No, I just rather buy it. I just rather buy it from someone else. So at the end of the day, I'll just buy it from like this person, and then just, you know, and that's about it. So I don't really care about the online portion personally. I'm not really like I've played online or so Nintendo games. God, they're so fucking awful. Jesus Christ. Because of my sister's Switch or so. And then that's pretty much about it. Like, yeah, I can just borrow my sister's Switch or so. And it's the same thing too as well. If I want to, you know, if I wanted to buy a Switch specifically too, like we can just go back to Macari again, right? For example, right? I just go be like, Switch. Get a Switch or so. I can just go buy me a Nintendo Switch off of here, you know, and then just fucking kind of, you know, just kind of basically, you know, just kind of play it myself. Yeah, I'm just gonna mostly just buy a Nintendo Switch. Like the only one that I would be willing to spend money on or so is the Animal Crossing Nintendo Switch personally. I think that's the only one I like because of the color scheme. Like I really do like the color scheme of the Animal Crossing one. But that's pretty much about it. Like that's the only Nintendo Switch that I kind of like the most because of the color scheme. The color scheme and the cute Animal Crossing thing, and that's about it. So I don't buy Nintendo games from GameStop anymore. I just buy them from third market prices now these days. I used to, but not anymore.
There's a lot of people that just play video games and stream them because as content creators, maybe they don't have access to aging hardware or even capture cards. Like, especially for a lot of entry content creators, it's important. Look, when I was starting YouTube, half of the gameplay footage for Haunted Gaming, dude, almost every single... Until GTA 5 released, All right, that specific time, everything I ever did on my channel was luckily captured through emulation content, right? Like emulators that I would run on the crap top and record using Bandicam. Like, this is
like I use emulation or so for my mobile games, for my gacha games, because I don't have no space or so for my phone. So that's why I just move my gacha games over to my emulation on PC, and I have no problem. So
same levels of like understanding that yes, some people use this stuff for, again, legitimately reasonable reasons, right? There's people that do emulate without the intention of piracy. Nintendo, unfortunately, had gone after, and I mean fortunately in their case, because this guy is a scumbag.
Yeah,
unfortunately
100%.
for the community, this scumbag can possibly ruin emulation for everyone. You know, a
It
lawsuit
could.
like this
Yep.
could eventually make it where, again, streaming these games or showcasing footage of them would be wrong. And maybe if down the road Nintendo considers that anybody that is violating their technological measures, right? Even if you're not streaming something,
True.
that's the route I'm worried. Because most people obviously aren't content creators in the emulation space. But if it ever becomes a fact or a legal issue where, again, just emulating something that requires you to have a BIOS file or a cryptographic key, which a lot of emulators do, that is incredibly dangerous across the board. See, it's not the emulators that are, you know, legally the issue. It's the BIOS files, it's the firmware stuff.
Yeah.
And that impacts a lot more than Nintendo. So yeah, it's something to worry about a little bit. And while I am on Nintendo's side against this piece of shit, I am a little bit worried about the preservation of emulators going forward. But ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you saw, please like, comment.
Even then, on top of that, right, the emulations are still out there. Like, you can still get Ryujinx. You can still get Yuzu. It's under a different name now. You can still get Dolphin or so, and whatever other emulations that's out there. You can still get them, you know? You just gotta dig a little deeper so to find them, you know? Like, you can try, like, you kill the head of a fucking Hydra, right? Fucking 10 more are gonna be in their place after that. So it doesn't really matter. No matter what Nintendo does, they're not, you know, there's no way they can kill emulation completely. Yeah, exactly. They just rebranded or so. That's just about it, you know? I think if I remember correctly, because, like, what was it? Was it Ryujinx or was it Yuzu? I think it was Yuzu or so, where they came after Yuzu or so, but then, like, somebody leaked the files or so for Yuzu somewhere. So then someone already has the files, and they're already immediately working on it under a different name or so for Yuzu, so. And that's pretty much about it, so. Like, they can't stop it. They can't stop emulation. No matter how hard they try, they cannot stop it because there's always someone that's going to take its place, and then they're just going to... And it's just going to keep going. But yeah, that's about it. But yeah, not going to lie, this guy is pretty stupid, though. I'll be honest with you. This guy is probably the biggest dumbass or so to be alive or so, to use emulation in the wrong way. To be honest, because they're freaking, trying to, you know, they're trying to get, you know, games and then, like, playing them super early when they're not even out yet, so. It's semi open source leaked, but now that it's out, people got the devs kits. Even if you get stomped out, the biggest one, the tech has spread. Yeah. Once completely the, like, you know, the files and the codes and everything, the dev codes and everything and all that stuff is out or so for the Nintendo, you know, emulator or so, right? Once it's out there on the field on the internet, there's no way for you to completely shut it down, you know? There's no way. It's impossible, so. But yeah, that's pretty much it, you know? I just kind of wanted to take a look at this specifically on this. So I'd be very curious to see what happens later on in the future for emulations and stuff like that. Because I also do emulations too. I also play Pokemon on my phone. I don't play on the map that much though, personally, so. It's been like forever. I was thinking of maybe deleting them off my phone or so, because I usually only use them or so if I'm going away or so, or going back to the void or something like that, you know? And I'm just there. I get the chance to play it or so. But I don't really play them though, so. Yeah, and that's pretty much frankly about it, so. But anyways, that's the end of the video. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to take a look at this, because it's kind of like interesting because it was all about Nintendo stuff, so, you know, Nintendo at the end of the day is still a terrible company at the end of the day, but yeah, that's understandable that Nintendo's coming after this guy or so, the way how he's doing things or so. Kind of puts everybody who's doing emulation in kind of like in a bad limelight, you know, because he's a pretty terrible person. That's what I'm saying, like, I think emulation should only be for like certain people or so at the end of the day, but anyways, that's it. But I'll see you in the video, and peace.